Hello everybody, thanks for watching That 80s Pastor Dude. I'm Lee. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, ring the little bell so you're notified when I have new videos. And by all means, if you have thoughts on any of the things I talk about, leave me a comment down below. If you hear my dogs over here whimpering and whining, they're laying on the bed right there. Right now they're behaving, but sometimes they get a little feisty, so just ignore them if they make noise during this video. This is actually a follow-up video to one I did quite some time ago, where I picked my favorite song from each of the John Schlitz Petra albums. And I made this list at the same time and had intended to do this video within a day or two, and time has just kind of slipped by. So these are my favorite songs from each of the albums before John Schlitz joined the band. Most of these are going to feature Greg Volz on vocals, but he wasn't in the band on the first album. Bob Hartman and one of the other founding members traded vocals. He was a guest vocalist on their second album and sang on some of those. And then he joined the band full-time in 1979. So a couple of these songs will actually feature Bob Hartman on vocals, and then the rest will be Greg X Volz. Beginning with the debut album from 1974, the Petra album, I'm going to pick Walking in the Light. It's a twin guitar southern rock song, which would have been right at home alongside Little Feat and the Allman Brothers and that kind of stuff. And the lyrics are simplistic, not quite as theologically nuanced as some of the stuff Bob Hartman wrote later, but this is just a really, really fun song. Number 2 is the title track from Come and Join Us, 1977, and once again, this is Bob Hartman singing lead vocals on this one, and it is my favorite track off that album. But I'm going to put another track from this album because this one features Greg X Volz, and it's their cover of Argent's God Gave Rock and Roll to You. This is the first time they covered this song. They would cover that song again later on 1985's Beat the System, and that song has also been covered by Kiss and a couple of other bands. But this one is really close to the original version by Argent, although they did change the lyrics somewhat. And this is probably my second favorite track on that album, especially considering this one features Greg X Volz on lead vocals. Next up is the song Taste and See from 1979's Washes Whiter Than. And this one's kind of it's almost kind of funky. It's got horns. It's kind of got vibes of the Average White Band or the Ohio Players, and I really, really dig this song. It's based on, oh goodness gracious, I just forgot which psalm it's based on, but it's Taste and See that the Lord is Good. But this is a really cool song. This one was later covered by Audio Adrenaline on a Petra tribute album, but it's a really, really cool song, so that's my number 4. Number 5 is Angel of Light from 1981's Never Say Die. This is an album that it took a while to grow on me because I got into Petra later on in their catalog, but this is an absolutely incredible album, and I absolutely love this song, and I'm going to do my best not to say absolutely too much. I oftentimes lean on that particular word. But Angel of Light, I love the lyrics, I love the guitar, and I love the synth and the organ, which was John Slick at that time. There's a breakdown part in here that sounds a lot like Heart from that period in their career, but one of my favorite Petra songs, period, but definitely my favorite one off Never Say Die. Number 6 is from 1982's More Power to You, and I struggled with which song to pick off this album because it is my favorite Petra album. It is the first Petra album I ever heard. My introduction to Petra was hearing the backmasking at the beginning of Judas Kiss at a seminar at the North American Christian Convention in 1986. And I immediately went out and bought this album, and then I bought the live album, Captured in Time and Space, which was brand new at the time. But I'm going to just go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick Rose-Colored Stained Glass Windows as my favorite track off that album. It begins with an organ playing the melody from Showers of Blessings, and has a really nice, mellow acoustic guitar intro. And basically the song talks about Christians being content to stay within the confines of the church, and we need to look outside the walls and look around at the world and realize we've been called to go out into a dying world. And then the song kicks in and there's a really great guitar solo. So that's my pick for More Power to You from 1982. Number 7 is one of my favorite Petra songs ever. It's off 1983's Not of This World, and it's Grave Robber. This is a song that, unless something changes, I will probably have played one day at my own memorial service. Absolutely beautiful song. An encouraging message reminding us that those of us in Christ, death is not the end, that one day Christ will return. There's a great live version of this on Captured in Time and Space. And then when they did the classic Petra album a few years ago, they redid this one again. And once again, it's just a beautiful song, incredible lyrics, and it's definitely in the top of my Petra songs. Number 8 is from 1985's Beat the System, and I had to think about this one because there's 2 or 3 songs on this that I struggle with picking, but I'm going to go with Adonai, which was the last track on the album. It's just a straight up hard rock praise and worship song, and they also redid this one for the classic Petra Back to the Rock. And even though that one has real drums and is a little more organic, and the Beat the System album has a lot of drum machines and sequencers and stuff, it's a little more neutered. I prefer the vocal performance on the original, and I also prefer the guitar solo on the original. It's a great guitar solo, especially as the song is fading out. So I'm going to go with Adonai. And then the next album they did with Greg X Volz was in 2011, when they put the Beat the System lineup back together, and they called it Classic Petra, and they recorded an album, and then they recorded a show where it was basically the same songs. And for some reason, Spotify no longer has the studio Back to the Rock, but they still have the live version up there. And there were 2 new songs on that. One was a song Greg X Volz had done solo, and they brought it in and recorded it as Petra. And then Bob Hartman wrote another one called Too Big to Fail. The rest of that album was just Petra classics being performed live. But Too Big to Fail, it actually sounds more like earlier Petra than the later stuff. It's very simplistic in the lyrics, but it's a really cool song, and it was great to hear what I consider the classic lineup of Petra, giving us a couple of new songs and then kind of breathing life into some of their older stuff. And that's all we've got with Greg X Volz as far as his contributions to Petra. He's got several solo albums, and maybe at some point in the future I will take a look at some of those. But those are my favorite songs from each of the Petra albums, not featuring John Schlitt on vocals. What did you think? Do you agree with my choices? What are the songs you would have picked? Leave a comment down below. And once again, like this video, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I'm Lee, and I'm done.